That's what I call Geek Episode 2. Max Prime, we're back live with another week of DCTV recap, and I have my special co-host of the show, and that's KJ. Welcome back to another lovely podcast.
Thank you so much. Let's do this.
All right, you ready? Let's jump into it. So, week 2 of the DCTV shows, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Arrow. We'll start off with The Flash first. And I guess I'll just give the recap really quick of the episode, and then, we'll just delve right into it. So, The Flash started off where Barry ends up getting a new suit from Cisco. We've seen a lot of Barry and Iris couple relationship fixing problems from the last episode into this one. We've seen a villain called Kilgore, which was the hacker. And we also seen a lot of Cisco as well as his Vibe counterpart, a lot of relationship issues there. Overall, in the episode, Barry ends up defeating Kilgore, and also we see a lot of the end scene with the Thinker, and as this Thinker villain has apparently created more metahumans outside of Harrison Wells' experiment with the accelerator. So let's dive right into it. What were your thoughts on this week's episode of The Flash?
I think that the Barry Iris drama was an episode and a half set up for couples therapy, which was, can I say a waste of showtime? Because I think that there could be better use of time for the show.
Yeah, so I was going to say, let's open up that can of worms with Barry and Iris. Do you really think that as far as for this season, we're going to see this every single episode? Because it really focused a lot on the Barry Iris problems in their relationship, because again, they're planning their marriage, we've seen their problems with, I guess coordinating their marriage together. Iris seemed upset about Barry being gone for so long and making the sacrifice to actually leave and go into the Speed Force. Again, for the show, do you is it just completely unnecessary?
I'm assuming they're using it to set up for something in the future. So I'm not so frustrated yet, but yeah, if it keeps where the episode and a half build up and a couple episode build up for couples therapy and things like that continue, it's going to be lost on me for sure.
Yeah, because it seemed like it definitely took over the episode because we only really got maybe 10 to 15 minutes of the actual plot, which was, right. Kilgore being the biological, was he the biological
Yeah, virus, yeah.
Yeah, and he had the ability to take over any type of computer system and hack it, and basically he was going after the people who created him, and apparently must have stole the idea. Or no, correct, back that up. Apparently he was going after the people who must have stole his idea. These rich billionaires who I guess obviously capitalized off.
Yeah, they worked on something together. They wanted to sell it and make the money, and he didn't, and they did, and then he didn't get any credit for it. It was originally his idea, yeah.
Yeah, and he came back for revenge, and at first we thought that because of the way the billionaires were wording it, that they created Kilgore, but apparently not. As we found out that at the end of the episode, the Thinker apparently must have gave him his powers. We seen Cisco give the Flash the new suit, and it had tech in it, and then again the Flash had trouble fighting Kilgore. As far as for the Cisco parts of the episode, again, because Cisco was... What's the Vibe girl's name, by the way? I'm going to mess that up. The girl who's Vibe from the alternate Earth.
The one that decided that they needed to celebrate 111 Day, which was pretty right on if you ever have one of those 111 wishes or 1111 wish moments in your life.
I mean, it's really like Valentine's Day, right?
Right, this was a perfect Valentine's Day episode. It could have been cheesy and appreciated more then. So I wonder what happened with that, why that happened now and not later.
Yeah, because I noticed that everybody was referring to this episode as the lighter episode compared to the week prior. I just think that the Iris Barry thing could have easily just not have happened during the episode because it just, I don't know.
Yeah, I would take Cisco and Gypsy over the Barry Iris drama for sure.
Exactly. And then with Caitlin Snow, I just felt like she was just put in just as a filler throughout the episode and everything.
Filler, and I'm sure the guys didn't mind her legs, right?
Yeah. So overall, like as far as the rating for the episode, what do you give it after this Kilgore episode?
It wasn't the best, so I'm gonna have to go with like a 6.8.
I'm gonna agree with you. I'm probably gonna give it a 6 out of 10 because it just wasn't wasn't the best. You know, it was watchable, but again, this wasn't the best. The Iris Berry killed me.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was our rating for The Flash. Moving forward, let's go to DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
It was pretty awesome. So I don't know if you're going to do the recap, but
you can recap
way to go
it.
with the circus.
Let me see here.
I have to admit, when I saw the previews that there was going to be a circus episode, I was like, are you kidding me? But it really worked, and the setup was great. I think the PT Barnum Bailey situation in real life, right, with the circus now closed, and that was kind of a big deal. I think it was just interesting to, time travel with the group and kind of go back and relive some of the early years of the circus.
I definitely, from the start of the episode, I thought, actually before the start of the episode, like when I seen the trailer for the episode, I was like, oh man, I was worried that it was just about the circus, and again, them trying to return a saber-toothed tiger. But as we watched the episode, it was actually like how they strategically just laced in every other plot behind just them going to get the saber-toothed tiger. Because again, for the people that are listening, to recap quickly, the episode starts off again. Is the word acronomaly? Is that what the word is? Acronomaly?
That sounds right.
Acronomaly. There's tons of acronomalies throughout time, and because of the legends in the last season, that caused it. So the legends now have a lot of data that they stole from the Time Bureau, Rip Hunter's Time Bureau, and they have a list of what are the most important time acronomalies versus the least important. So they figured that they can go and correct the least important anomaly, which was 1870 Barnum and Bailey Circus, and they somehow were in the possession of a saber-toothed tiger, and they needed to basically get that time acronomaly out of there. The legends go, they actually go back in time to get the assistance of Maya, and they bring her to present day. They actually try to take the saber-toothed tiger and rescue it from Barnum and Bailey. The legends, of course, mess up, get captured by, is it Barnum?
PT, yeah, Barnum.
PT, yeah. So PT actually
played by Billy Zane, which was amazing, by the way. He did a really good job.
Yes. The legends actually get captured by PT, and then eventually, the legends escape out of there. Meanwhile, the subplot of the Time Bureau actually leaking out to the legends actually about, the reason why Rip Hunter allowed them to take the Wave Rider in the first place. We get more information on that from the last episode of this one, where the legends, know that Rip gave them that Wave Rider just for the fact of there's this other villain that's out there within time, and he feels the legends can defeat them, as one of the members of the Time Bureau actually leaks out to the legends. So towards the end of the episode, we got to see that villain resurrect somebody into the DC Legends universe, and that was the episode. So overall, what are your thoughts?
I really liked it. I think that both Sarah and Amaya's characters were really stand out in this episode. I think Amaya, normally when she has her animal powers come out, she's a little bit, I don't know, say cheesy. I don't know if that's the word, but I don't know. Some reason, like her with the bear scene was pretty awesome, and kudos to her. It was really awesome. And then Sarah taking control as usual. Love it.
And as far as Maya's relationship with Citizen Steel, aka
Nathaniel.
Yeah, Nathaniel. We knew that, and actually it was interesting, at the beginning of the episode, we got to see Nate and Maya 6 months ago, which, if we haven't discussed yet during the podcast, did you notice that this week all the DC shows kind of, connected to each other? where in the Flash episode, the Flash is looking at a newspaper that says, Mayor Green is really the Green Arrow, or I'm sorry, Mayor Queen is Green Arrow on the
Arrow,
newspaper, yeah. And then in this episode of Legends, in the beginning of the episode, we seen Maya and Nate talking to each other, loving on each other in the kitchen. And on the TV, since it was 6 months ago, we seen when Barry, it was a news report when, remember that Speed Force storm happened during the last episode of The Flash, and all the red and yellow lightning were coming out of the sky in Central City. Mm-hmm. And since Nate and Amaya were in Central City 6 months ago, that was a news report that was on the TV. So that was pretty cool in the background. And so anyway, I thought like the Nate and Maya thing, of course, like they had to play on that a lot because, again, like she just up and disappeared on Nate. And we all knew that Maya had to eventually go back to where she came from. I mean, because you can't just pull her out of the timeline. Yeah, exactly. Especially when her granddaughter Vixen is now protecting like the streets of Detroit and everything, as we've seen in the episode. Overall, Amaya. That's right, Amaya. Okay. Keep messing her name up. And then also we got to see a little Firestorm action. We seen one thing I noticed is that you notice Rory doesn't really tend to use his heat wave powers a lot, or you can say his heat wave gun anymore. It's just like brute force. Rory seems like a lot like I think of the most changed character out of this whole show is Rory, because I think he's kind of almost like a hero now. In a way, he's not really the villain bad guy anymore, kind of. I mean, he's still like the, I do what I want, I'm going to sit here and drink beer guy, but he seems really changed.
I agree. I think, and I feel like there's more to that too, right? It'll be, I think he just had some sobering moments last season that made him be the way he is this season so far.
Of course. Overall, anything stand out, or just want to give it the rating for this week?
I think for a rating, I would give this one probably an 8.
Okay. I'm going to probably go right along with you with probably an 8.5. Okay. I just like the joke at the end when the Legends are all together and, White Canary stands out in front of them and they're like, yeah, apparently the Time Bureau is hiding something from us. There's supposedly a villain out there that we're going to fight, and it's, stronger than, and they believe, and then they all start laughing at the joke at the end. I thought that was kind of hilarious and stuff, and then they cut to that scene showing the villain. So that was pretty cool.
That was really fantastic.
Arrow. So please give us a recap of Arrow.
All right, so we start off early in the episode where Anatoly makes a great return. I don't know what it is. I like all the good, bad guys, right? But it was interesting the way he came back, and they set it up as if he planted that photo that everyone had the reveal that Oliver was Green Arrow, and in the end you find out it actually wasn't him, and then they proceed to fight these guys, and then there's a whole setup with the Bratva and this other group of guys. The whole consulate gets involved, and it's escalated. FBI comes in to interview and question Oliver about being Green Arrow, and of course they bring in his son, and any father, I'm sure, would say, that's not cool. So he says, so if I were this person you think I am, what do you think to what lengths would that person go to prevent you from harming my family, basically. So I think that they just set that up. But the gal that played the FBI agent was spot on. She was really amazing. Loved her. So it'll be interesting to see her again and again until that section goes away. This hints of the Felicity Oliver love story thing, which I'm not a fan of, but it is what it is. I guess they gotta throw it in there somehow.
Not a fan of the Felicity.
The Felicity Oliver love story. I don't know if it's just because I love the comic and there's no Felicity in the comic. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Something about it. Just not a fan. So I'm sure Emily, the actress that plays her, is phenomenal. I think she's lovely, but I just don't like the love story part.
And I was going to add in that. Since Felicity is not even a real character in comics, she was one of those, created characters just for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I, I mean, I don't want to place it because I know there's a huge like ship following of like, of Felicity and Ollie. But I know then, in the comics, eventually, Oliver Queen is supposed to end up with, Black Canary. That's his destiny to end up
Right.
with, Dinah. So, overall, I mean, like as far as the episode, so basically the episode was just about someone leaked Ollie's identity, and we find out at the end. Do we find out like who actually leaked it at the end?
You find out that it was computer generated, and they're trying to find out who it is, and the who and why basically is still not solved.
Okay. So overall in the episode, what were your like overall rating or just thoughts on it? Honest thoughts.
Rating, I think this one probably a 7. A few moments that we missed, Dig had the shakes again, kind of explained that, so that was good. But I still feel like there's something missing, like they cut scenes or something, and it just you don't get the full picture. So I'm giving it a 7.
Missing something, like what do you?
Yeah,
think
it's just missing something. I don't know if it's how they kind of jump to, okay, we see Dig with the shakes, for example, and then you kind of find out why, but it's like a half truth, like it's not a full story, it's just not well delivered. I'm not sure what it is. It's just a couple of those moments that happen, and then the jumping around with Anatoly this episode and making it look like he was the one that did the photo and then he didn't, and he, I'm a stand-up guy, I wouldn't do that kind of story. So
yeah,
I don't know, 7.
Wow. Okay. And I know that in the episode they had a little hint to Bruce Wayne existing in the Arrowverse.
Mm-hmm. That was good. That was a cute moment. Yeah, he's like, well, what about Bruce Wayne? He could be the Arrow too, or something like that. It was really funny.
Do you think this could possibly lead to maybe a Batman CW show?
I don't know. I don't know what the rules are since they have Gotham on Fox. I don't know.
Because I know that we seen Superman make his appearance in the Supergirl show. So, I mean, could Batman make an appearance in Arrow? Maybe.
That would be awesome. I don't know.
And then I also was thinking, like, okay, well, Arrow's pretty dark as it is. Like, would Batman be completely darker, or he would just like show up in an alleyway and just like talk to Ollie, about I don't know whatever, and then just like disappear. I mean, that'd be kind of like a cool moment. Because Arrow to me was like Batman Light in the CW universe,
Yeah, fair enough. And I think maybe that's for future, right? If they need to do another show, they can do Justice League, they can set it up that way somehow. Maybe they don't have a Batman show because they have Gotham on Fox, but they have maybe Justice League or something could be the alternative.
It was kind of interesting, like how even in like the Flash last year, they had a little teaser of the phone. I believe it was a phone in like Earth 2. I believe on Earth 2, Barry is at home with Iris, and you see a phone, and it has like Bruce, Diana, and Clark's name on a phone and stuff. So I know they exist and everything. And obviously, now that we know Superman was on Supergirl, so maybe we might get a Bruce Wayne one day.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So last, we're gonna discuss Supergirl. No, we're not, because I tried to watch Supergirl, and 5 minutes in, I turned it off. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It's all right.
So
we'll figure that one out. We'll revisit that at a future date.
This is really bad, So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna briefly recap the episode, because it just, I mean, again, for our listeners, I don't particularly hate Supergirl. I do not. I really like it. As far as the show.
I don't care for it. This is what they should do. I have a great idea. Okay? Writers of the world, write the episode as if you're writing for Superman. Or somebody tells somebody to write, and tell them they're writing for Superman. And then sub he for she, and make it so it continues with the story. But then just don't have all the drama with it, right? Like, they won't have the weird girly moments if they just pretend they're writing for Superman.
Interesting. I like that. I mean, it just like I said, I always like last week we talked about balance. We talked about action, drama. I always said, Arrow was full of. It seemed like 60% action, 40% drama. and Flash was like 60% drama, 40% action. Legends was like, 25, 25, 25. It was like all perfect, balance. And Supergirl's is out of whack.
Yeah.
I like with the episode that aired was called Triggers, where it just the episode just fell flat for me. And again, like I was just reading a lot of reviews myself because I'm a reviewer, and this is really bad. So that's it. Like if you could go and watch like Supergirl, it's available up on CW website. You can watch the episode yourself. But yeah, that's no Supergirl review this week for us. Final thoughts on this week's DC TV shows.
Legends was a standout. Arrow was pretty good. Flash, we got to figure out the drama. But you said it's the light episode, so that means good things to come. Supergirl, we'll figure you out yet.
Follow us on social media. YouTube.com. You can find this podcast, youtube.com/Max Prime Comics. Eventually, we're going to have our own URL for this show, for our podcast. How do we find you, KJ?
At Kissimmee007.
Yes. And follow me at Max Prime Reviews on, again, we're on Twitter. Tweet us out. Ask us questions about the CW shows because we love talking about CW. We love talking about the superhero shows. That's all of our social medias. All right. Well, that was our podcast. That's what I call Geek Episode 2. Again, tune in next week. We're going to, again, recap these DC TV shows, and we're going to, break it down and see how well they've done. For my co-host, KJ, for myself, Max Prime, that was it, and we'll see you guys next week. So we're out.